Hey guys, welcome to Welding 101. We're going to talk about how we weld today. So first thing is you have your own booth that you're going to be working in. Okay, you're going to get a helmet. Okay, we have two different kinds of helmets. We have the regular helmet here, just has a flip up cap so you can see through this regular lens. This is that darkened lens. So this is the basic helmet, and then we have the helmet like what I have on. So when I pull this down, you can see there is a screen right here. I can see you right now, but once that flame starts, this auto darkens. So it turns black for me so I don't go blind. So along with the helmet, we do wear safety glasses just to make sure that way anytime I pull this up, I still have the protection, let it be from slag or anything else that might be happening. But once this helmet is down, you should be welding. Same with this guy here. If this is down, you're welding. If it's up, you're safe. So I already have my apron on. I now need to put on sleeves because I'm not wearing long sleeves today. So we're gonna grab these guys right here. They're a little weird to put on, but it's actually not that difficult. So there's just little button snaps that attach with them. You're gonna take your arm through the sleeve. I always do button down. I don't really know why I do that, but it goes behind you to the other sleeve. There's two, okay? So that keeps my arms from getting burnt. I still have my shirt, of course, that could get caught with some slag if necessary, but there's that, okay? Apron, of course, is gonna be necessary. That's what I'm wearing. We then have our curtains. We're gonna pull these, okay, so that if somebody were to walk in, of course, they wouldn't get the light as bad. Now, of course, it can reflect off the white around us. We do have to be aware of that. You do wear gloves as well, okay? Make sure you get two opposite gloves, okay? Make sure there's no holes in them from where somebody may have put a tool to it or it got burnt. So make sure you have no holes, okay? Before you get started, you're gonna check a couple things. One, do I have electrodes? Okay, the electrodes we're using are 60-13, so you can see that right here. Okay, 60-13. That's just the grade of electrode here. This is what actually melts away and becomes the bead that you're creating. Okay, this guy gets attached here. Okay, we use our clamp. There's little divots in here that it just kind of gets attached to at the metal piece, okay? We're gonna sit that back in the pot. We need to make sure we have a pair of clamps, okay? So we can pick up our hot metal when we're finished to go cool it off. And we also wanna make sure that we have our chisel and brush, okay? Some of you might not have the brush attached. It might be a separate tool, but you do need to make sure you have the chisel and a brush, okay? So, before we get started, we need to make sure this is grounded, okay? This isn't gonna make anything happen if there's no ground to this. So my ground is this guy right here, this clamp, okay? That's what's actually gonna create that circuit, okay, or current transition, okay? So this, I'm actually gonna attach to the table, okay? I can attach to my metal if I wanted to, sit it up on some stone, okay? But I'm just gonna let my table be my connection. Now, do you remember that makes this table a live surface? So we need to make sure that we're connecting. So I'm just gonna connect it to the leg over here underneath. And now that's gonna make this whole table a live station. Gonna lay my metal out, okay? For best surfacing, you want your metal to be clean. Now for today, I didn't take any time to grind this out, make it clean or anything. You can see where somebody's actually already tried to use this, okay? They got stuck, but we're just gonna run some beads on here today. So, I'm gonna get my gloves on before I actually get started. Always have those ready, okay? My power switch is down here at the bottom, okay? Power is this guy right here. These ones up here, we don't mess with. We're not gonna mess with these power switches up top. We're just gonna deal with our power switch, okay? This clearly just pops up, it's on. You can even take your foot, push it down to cut it off, okay? You can hear that humming sound so you know it is on. So we're gonna go ahead and cut it on. okay? This is now hot. I'm gonna pull my helmet down. You're probably not gonna be able to hear me really talking, but you can just watch as I start a bead. Now, one thing I did forget to say, before I get started, you always wanna stay at about a 45-degree angle. You don't wanna come in like this or right over top, okay? So come in kind of at an angle and just watch how the technique goes. I'm going to drop this hot electrode down in my bucket, set everything off to the side. Now, this is still really hot, so I can't touch this with my gloves. I'm going to use my clamp here to get her out. Okay? I'm going to use this guy. Okay? Now, the gloves are going to make it kind of hard to grab a hold of things. Okay? But we're just going to kind of clamp somewhere where it'll let you grab. Okay, grab a hold of it. So here's my water bucket. You can definitely tell she was hot. Okay. Now when we do this, this does weaken that weld. So if we were doing an actual joint on something, we wouldn't do that auto steaming, okay? So then we're gonna come back. I've gotta get off this black slag. So I'm going to place this back on the table. And if you look, right now, you can kind of see a little bit of silver down here. This slag right here needs to come off. And slag is kind of just like a residue, okay, or like the ashes. So I'm going to take my chisel and I'm just going to pop that off. And the better your weld is, the better that's going to come off. You saw how that all came off together. I'm going to take my brush. I'm going to clean it up, okay, and that is what we end up with. So I take, and I can kind of point out some things because she's still pretty hot. So if we look here, you can see, so I came in at a 45-degree angle, okay, and you just make little circles or little semicircles, okay, and this little guy is just kind of feeding away, okay, and creating that divot there, okay. This is called a bead. Okay, let's say I wanted to attach another piece of metal, like I wanted to attach this guy here. My metal would come here, and I would draw a bead right here. That would build up right there to attach this to here. Okay, so the first goal is to run a bead. Okay, when you first start, it's not going to be the greatest. Things are going to look weird. What we could end up with, though, is we could have some different layers here. Okay. So this is some old welds that I've done. You see how this is really uniform, okay? But it's really thin, okay? So that's a good bead, but it's not wide. This is what we're looking for, that widened bead, okay? This is pretty much, you know, where we really want to end up with. You're probably going to start with things like this. You're going to have those errors and things. We're going to have those buckles and little bubbles and things like that, okay? You might even end up with just, you know, a whole hot mess of just some flute. But in the end, what you want is for that whole chunk of slag to come off all in one, okay? That's when you know you have done a really good weld. And this actually came off of this one right here. So this came off right there. You can even see it come back off of there. So that is a perfect weld when this is coming off all in one piece, ready to go. So that is the first part you're going to do to welding, okay? Remember, everything is hot, okay? We don't want to be touching things. Always make sure we're wearing our helmet, okay? And that we're just taking our time, okay? That 45-degree angle is really going to be helpful when you go to build those pieces, okay? But I hope you enjoy, stay safe, and have a great day.